We've never had more output and less expression. There is more content than ever before. More words, more images, more ideas moving through the world every second. And yet, fewer things seem to land. Fewer things stay with us. That's not because people stopped caring. It's because output and expression are not the same thing. Output measures volume. Expression carries meaning. For a long time, those two moved together. Creating something usually required effort, intention, and risk. So what made it into the world often mattered simply because it was costly to produce. But that balance has shifted. Now output is easy, scale is effortless. And when something becomes effortless, it stops being a signal on its own. This is where confusion sets in. People start measuring value by quantity, by frequency, by how much is produced instead of what is being said. That pressure doesn't come from creativity. It comes from noise. And noise is loud enough to make people forget why they wanted to create in the first place. Expression has never been about how much you produce. It's about what you choose to say. Expression requires judgment. It requires restraint. It requires knowing what matters and, just as importantly, what doesn't. Output fills space. Expression leaves a mark. This is why more content hasn't made people feel more understood. Visibility doesn't create connection. Meaning does. Being seen isn't the same as being heard, and being heard isn't the same as being understood. Expression bridges that gap. That's something automation can't do on its own. AI can increase output. It can generate drafts. It can multiply variations. But it cannot decide what's worth expressing. That responsibility doesn't go away. It becomes more important. Because when everything can be created, discernment becomes the differentiator. This is where many people feel tension. They sense they could create more. They know the tools are there, but something feels off. Not because they lack discipline, but because they're trying to scale output without anchoring expression. Expression isn't about sharing everything you can create. It's about sharing what reflects understanding, what reflects experience, what reflects intention. That takes pause, and pause feels countercultural in a world built on acceleration. But pause isn't weakness, it's judgment at work. This is where the thinking layer comes full circle. Clarity gives direction. Understanding provides structure. Judgment chooses meaning. AI supports scale, but expression decides impact. Without expression, scale just amplifies noise. With expression, even small output carries weight. This is why some people can post rarely and still matter, and others can post constantly and feel invisible. The difference isn't effort, it's intention. Expression doesn't rush. It doesn't compete. It doesn't need to prove volume. It knows what it's trying to say, and it waits until it's ready to say it. That doesn't mean withholding creativity. It means protecting meaning. You don't owe the world everything you can create. You don't owe constant output. You don't owe speed. You owe honesty to yourself first. Expression begins there. When creation aligns with understanding, it resonates. When it aligns with intention, it lasts. When it aligns with judgment, it carries weight. That's why expression ages better than output. Output fades quickly, expression stays. AI makes it easier to create. That's a gift. But it also makes it easier to lose signal. That's the responsibility. The question is no longer whether you can produce more. It's whether what you're producing reflects what you actually understand, what you've lived, what you believe, what you're willing to stand behind. That's expression. And expression is what turns creativity into impact. Output just makes it visible. Here's the closing truth for Phase 4. AI can help you scale. Clarity can guide you. Creativity can expand you. But expression is what makes any of it matter. Choose it carefully.